Every time Buffy the Vampire Slayer comes back into the conversation, it brings a strange mix of excitement, anxiety, and nostalgia. This isn't just another TV franchise. For a lot of fans, Buffy was formative. It defined a generation of genre television, launched careers, and proved that supernatural storytelling could be emotional, funny, and deeply human. So when news broke that a new Buffy series was quietly moving forward, reactions were immediate and complicated. Now, after months of uncertainty, Sarah Michelle Gellar has finally stepped forward to clarify what this new project actually is, why it's taking so long, and what fans should and shouldn't expect. And while her explanations offer reassurance, they also raise some fair questions about whether lightning can really strike twice. Let's break down what we know, what's being said, and what remains up in the air. Gellar recently confirmed that the upcoming project is officially titled Buffy the Vampire Slayer: New Sunnydale. That name isn't just cosmetic. According to her, it's central to understanding the creative intent behind the series. This is not a reboot, and it's not a traditional sequel either. Instead, Gellar describes it as a continuation of the Buffy universe, one that expands the world rather than simply revisiting it. Her exact words are important here. She's been very deliberate in how she frames this. It's not a sequel, it's not a reboot, it's a continuation. That distinction matters because it signals an attempt to walk a very fine line. On one hand, the series acknowledges everything that came before. On the other, it doesn't want to be chained to the original show in a way that limits storytelling. According to Gellar, the new series is designed to explore where Buffy is now, but also what the world looks like with her and without her. And that's where the title New Sunnydale comes in. The original series ended with Sunnydale literally collapsing into a massive hellmouth crater. It was symbolic, final, and surprisingly hopeful. Buffy saved the world again, but more importantly, she broke the cycle. She was no longer the one and only Slayer. The burden was shared, and her story felt complete. So why return at all? That's a question Gellar herself struggled with for years. She's openly admitted that she once said she'd never return to Buffy because she didn't see how it could possibly live up to the original. In her own words, she said she didn't want to be better than what came before. She just wanted to protect it. That hesitation is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it suggests respect for the legacy. On the other, it raises the question, if the story already had a meaningful ending, what's being added now that truly justifies reopening the book? According to Gellar, the answer lies in evolution rather than repetition. The new series reportedly takes place in a rebuilt Sunnydale, now divided into two distinct areas, gritty old Sunnydale and upscale new Sunnydale. This isn't just a visual update, it's thematic. It reflects how the world has changed, how evil has adapted, and how the concept of the Slayer fits into a more modern landscape. A recently revealed logline gives us our clearest look yet at the story direction. The focus shifts to Nova, a 16-year-old bookworm who discovers she's a vampire slayer during a festival called Vampire Weekend, a celebration of Sunnydale's dark history. During the event, two vampires emerge, kill a teenager, and begin planning a ritual to raise a vampire army at a location called the Cursed Circle. That alone tells us a few things. First, the show isn't abandoning the monster of the week DNA that made Buffy work. Second, it's clearly designed to introduce a new generation of characters, with Buffy no longer positioned as the central protagonist, at least not in the traditional sense. And this is where skepticism naturally creeps in. Shifting the spotlight away from Buffy Summers is understandable from a creative standpoint. You can't realistically expect Sarah Michelle Gellar to anchor a physically demanding action series indefinitely. But Buffy without Buffy front and center is a tough sell for longtime fans, especially when the emotional connection to the original character is what made the show iconic in the first place. The rumored focus on Buffy's daughter, allegedly played by Ryan Kier Armstrong, adds another layer of uncertainty. Passing the torch can work beautifully when done right, but it can also feel forced if the new character doesn't earn that legacy organically. The creative team seems aware of this risk, which partly explains why progress has been slow. Gellar has been very transparent about the delay, repeatedly emphasizing that the project won't move forward unless it makes sense. She said that she doesn't want to sell the legacy short by rushing something out just to capitalize on nostalgia. According to her, the team has been working for years, literally years, trying to figure out the why and how of bringing Buffy back. One of the key reasons the project gained traction again was the involvement of Chloé Zhao, the Oscar-winning filmmaker behind Nomadland and Eternals. Zhao reportedly spent 3 years going back and forth with Gellar, shaping the vision for what a new Buffy series could be. That's impressive, but also slightly concerning. Zhao is a respected filmmaker, but Eternals divided audiences, especially fans of the Marvel brand. Her style is slower, more introspective, and more atmospheric, which could be a fascinating fit for Buffy, or a tonal mismatch if not carefully balanced with the humor and energy that defined the original series. And that brings us to the platform. Hulu has ordered a pilot, not a full series. That's an important distinction. It means the project is still being evaluated, tested, and refined. There's interest, but not yet full confidence. Networks don't greenlight pilots lightly, but they also don't guarantee success. This cautious approach aligns with Gellar's own mindset, but it also suggests that the studio understands how risky this revival really is. Buffy isn't just another IP, it carries emotional weight, and it also carries baggage, especially considering how public perception of the franchise's original creator has changed over time. While Joss Whedon isn't involved in this new iteration, his shadow still looms large over the legacy, whether fans like it or not. That's another tightrope the new series has to walk, honoring what Buffy meant without repeating the mistakes or controversies of the past. Historically, the Buffy franchise has already evolved more than people sometimes remember. It began as a 1992 feature film starring Kristy Swanson, written by Joss Whedon and directed by Frank Kazooie. That film didn't fully capture what the concept would later become. It wasn't until the TV series launched in 1997 on the WB, with Gellar stepping into the role, that Buffy truly found its identity. The show ran for 5 seasons on the WB, before moving to UPN for its final 2 seasons, growing darker, more ambitious, and more emotionally complex along the way. It changed how genre TV was written and consumed. So the idea of expanding that universe isn't inherently wrong, but expectations are sky high, and that's where caution is warranted. The phrase, "it's Buffy, but it's also something else," sounds reassuring on the surface, yet it's also vague. Fans have heard similar promises before from revivals that ultimately felt disconnected from what made the original special. The key question is this: does new Sunnydale feel like a natural evolution of Buffy's world, or does it feel like a rebranded spin-off wearing Buffy's name? Right now, we don't have enough information to answer that definitively. What we do know is that Gellar seems determined not to rush. She's acknowledged that nostalgia can be messy and that people have conflicting feelings about the show. She's also made it clear that she's proud of what the original cast and crew created, and she doesn't want to undermine that legacy. That level of self-awareness is encouraging, but it also sets an incredibly high bar. When you publicly state that something won't be released unless it's perfect, expectations naturally climb even higher, and perfection is a dangerous standard. So where does that leave fans? Somewhere between hopeful and hesitant. There's potential here, real potential. A rebuilt Sunnydale, a new Slayer, a modern setting, and a creative team that's taking their time rather than rushing out a nostalgia cash-in. But there are also real risks, tonal shifts, generational disconnects, and the challenge of telling a story that feels necessary rather than redundant. For now, Buffy the Vampire Slayer New Sunnydale remains a project defined more by intention than execution. Until we see footage, scripts, or a full series order, it exists in a liminal space. Not quite a revival, not quite a reinvention. And maybe that's appropriate for a franchise built around the space between worlds. The Hellmouth may be closed, but the story clearly isn't over. Whether reopening it proves inspired or ill-advised, that's something only time and the final show will tell. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe for more updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.